You make it easier.
All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Kevin Cobb. I'm Director of Experiential Marketing with Augeo, and I will be your moderator today. I would like to introduce you to two fantastic panelists that we're going to have today. First off, Ashley Moy. She is Strategy Director, Business Development with Augeo. Welcome, Ashley. Augeo is a global leader in enterprise-level loyalty and engagement strategies, technologies, and experience design. We're going to hit on some of that last part today. We also have Meg Victor with us. Welcome, Meg. She is the Marketing Program Manager with Pulsanelli, a valued client of Augeo and AmLaw 100 firm with best-in-class client service model prepared, in part at least, by immersive experiences and VIP gifting programs. Welcome, Ashley and Meg.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks so much.
Hi, everybody.
Awesome. Well, today we're going to discuss the reimagining of experiential gifting through technology and innovation. Ashley and Meg, you both have experience in implementing these customized, technology-driven gifting experiences, and I'm excited to discuss this topic with you over the next 20 minutes. First of all, you heard me right, 20 minutes, so it's short. Due to that short time frame, we're going to not take questions during the webinar. We will give an opportunity at the end for you to send questions in if you have any follow-ups. But until then, we are really going to TED Talk this thing. So Ashley and Meg, are you ready?
Ready when you are.
Ready. Do this.
Fantastic. Ashley, let's start with you. And we're going to start with the why. Why should enterprises begin to rethink their corporate gifting strategy? And why now?
I think there really are a couple of things to think about here. Over the past few years, we've seen exponential growth in corporate gifting, both with our clients at Augeo and the industry as a whole. There are now hundreds of billions of dollars a year being spent in this area. And if you kind of think about the landscape over the past few years, it makes sense why we're trending this way. So to answer your question, the why now is because with more and more organizations leveraging gifting as a tool, we really want to evaluate our clients, your approach to ensure that you're truly being differentiated in this new landscape, as well as making the impact that you're wanting to. The second thing here is if we look at how quickly technology continues to emerge and evolve, the sky is the limit on how we can reposition gifting strategy. So it really also makes it very timely from a technology standpoint.
That does make sense. And along with the options of the technology, I would also argue that expectations continue to skyrocket.
For sure.
Now, I know that that's one of the things on a lot of brands' minds. So they're super concerned about expectations, and that relates to relevancy, especially as the markets become more and more competitive. Would you say that organizations should really just kind of stick with their strategy and then focus on making it more relevant?
I think, again, a couple ways that we can look at that. My perspective is relevancy is really what we're striving for is table stakes. So the absolute bare minimum. It's obviously essential. So if you do feel your company is falling behind the curve a little bit, maybe it's important to play catch up now and maybe explore some brand new ways to stand out. Experiential gifting is definitely a huge way that you can make an impact here. But when we think about elevating through experience design, maybe what we're talking about is looking at existing strategies and expanding those, maybe expanding the scope, or again, kind of rethinking what might be possible with the integration of new technologies. Both perspectives, what the goal is moving that needle from something that's transactional to something that's going to be transformational, and making it a compelling differentiator versus the table stakes that we were kind of talking about.
Yeah, that does make sense. And certainly rising to meet those expectations, again, super important.
Yeah.
Meg, in your role, you really have been at the forefront of leveraging innovative, technology-driven solutions, especially when it comes to strategic gifting. Could you tell us just a little bit about those initiatives?
Absolutely. So, Kevin, corporate gifting has really, in large part, become a part of our culture at Pulsanelli. As Ashley previously mentioned, it gives us the opportunity to showcase our brand, along with strengthening key client and business relationships, both internally and externally. So as you referenced, we were really seeking a technology solution that could help us reach 950 plus attorneys in 23 offices nationwide and give them a personal approach to select and choose holiday gifts for their clients each year.
Well, those are some big numbers. and dispersed across a wide variety of geographies as well. It's not an unusual problem that many folks certainly are facing now as we have more of the hybrid workforce. So, with employees spread all the way across the country, a lot of times the first thing to go is consistency. Was consistency a concern? I imagine like having each individual person just sort of selecting what they like best, it may not reflect the brand's overall vision.
Absolutely. Consistency was definitely a main concern of ours, both operationally and from a brand perspective. So as you talk about the changing landscape and meeting those expectations, I refer to it as like meeting the Amazon expectations. So it was important for us. Everyone's so used to one-stop shop, they click and the gifts or whatever they've ordered is at their doorstep. I wanted to make sure that we were able to meet and exceed those. From an operational standpoint, that meant seamless timing, shipping, and fulfillment. From a brand standpoint, that meant predetermining a selection of gifts that they could choose from that aligned and represented our brand in a positive light.
That does make sense. So how did you ultimately then solve for those specific needs? And we're talking about lots of complexities, but then the need for simplicity.
Yes, exactly. So partnering with Augeo and their gifting team and really leaning into the technology and the platform that they provided, we were able to meet and exceed those Amazon expectations, right? We customized and implemented a digital gift shop where all of our attorneys could essentially log on, they could browse the shop and then select gifts that most resonated with their clients. After they made those selections, we offered them the opportunity to personalize and customize any of those gifts. Those ranged from a customized note, happy holidays, to logo, to monogram, any sort of personalization and customization. And then I don't want to forget that fulfillment was also, it was handled for us by the Augeo team. So that was a huge win for us operationally, and in turn, was able to represent a clean and seamless user experience for our shoppers.
I want to add that in addition to all the amazing things that Meg just highlighted, another benefit of this type of solution is the ability to grant permission-based access to a segmented group of users. So depending on your audience and needs, different individuals or groups of those individuals can see different things on the selection site.
Yeah, that's right, Ashley. I'm glad you brought that up. We were able to select for a select audience, we were able to give them direct access to the site where they had a fully hands-on experience and selecting and choosing their gifts from an exclusive selection ranging from resort stays to Peloton bikes. The options were endless. It was an amazing user experience. And again, that hands-on, they were thrilled about the hands-on approach to it.
Yeah, that's great. And it's great to hear the user experience too. To your point, those Amazon expectations, we're all walking around with huge, powerful computers in our pockets all the time. So we have to make sure that that user experience does meet that. And at the same time, we're not filling our office filled with boxes, creating a line with everybody packing stuff in, which just, if you've ever done that, is it's not always the funnest thing that you will do at work, for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
I'd love to shift gears just a little bit. We've been talking about digital gift shops and how do you execute that in particular. How can you layer on the simplicity, but not sacrifice the execution? Shifting gears a little bit, for organizations that are curious about like what's the next generation of corporate gifting, what should we be doing to really kind of add some innovation to make impact? And I'd love to talk just a little bit about that, Ashley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the key here is the wow factor. I mean, I think that's more important than it probably ever has been. And really thinking about how we can go beyond a standalone gift experience to maybe engage in some new and unexpected ways, like you said. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning, but just remembering that we're speaking to audiences who are becoming increasingly sophisticated from a technological standpoint. The collective, we have embraced technology in incredible new ways at an incredible pace over the past few years. And with that type of sophistication results in heightened expectations. So we really need to have that at the heart of these strategies that we're creating. One of my favorite, probably my favorite example of how we can exceed those expectations is through a solution like 3D gifting, which is a truly immersive experience that can be deployed from anywhere across the world.
That's very, very cool. And definitely we're going to hear some more about that. Because I think it gets right to the heart of what we've been discussing, which is, really in many ways, people's time is more valuable now than their money. It's actually harder to get. And so you want to make sure that there is this return, that an experience is something that is worth their time. And I think people are more aggressive about evaluating if it's worth their time now too. So when we think about like 3D gifting, can you share with our audience, like what did attendees get to experience, like firsthand? What was that like?
Definitely. Really, it's merging gifting and experience together to create that memorable moment that is going to be worth people's time, like you said. From the beginning to the end, attendees are really immersed in a fully customizable 3D environment. And when I say fully customizable, I really mean it. The options are limitless in terms of what the virtual world can look like, whether it's kind of echoing your corporate headquarters, or maybe you're portraying an exotic destination that attendees might eventually be traveling to at some point. Users will truly be transported to that virtual world. Once they're there, they will have a virtual concierge who's there to assist them throughout the experience and also kind of check in on them. Also an opportunity for you to have hosts involved in that as well, if you want someone from your organization to interact with attendees while they're in the virtual gifting world. Each attendee has their own control over it, so they're exploring really at their leisure and interacting with 3D rendered products. And the detail on these products is incredible. It really blows my mind every time I see them, exactly mimicking what they would see in real life. Most of the time we're organizing these in booths, so kind of like the online selection site, but really bringing to life a themed booth, whether it's home and decor or luxury accessories or technology. The same range of interests can be addressed in this space too. I think that one important thing to remember, which is a huge benefit of this, is I think we hear virtual and 3D, and we think that we're going to need special equipment to access that. But really all you need is a computer and an internet connection. There's no special headsets, nothing else required. So it makes it really easy for your attendees with a very low barrier of entry to access it.
Very cool. So Meg and I then, because we don't have to give up the connection piece, we could walk this virtual mall together, if you will.
Totally.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I might be showing my age by mentioning mall. So forgive me for that. But yeah. So what would you say then that makes the 3D gifting experience this compelling choice for brands? Because it's all that's not going to be right for everybody. Yeah. But there will certainly be areas where that is right. What would you say, for those brands sort of trying to figure out what slot to put this in? Who is this for, really?
Mm-hmm. I think beyond it, there's obvious wow factor here for sure. That's definitely going to speak to your brand as innovative and forward thinking. But I think probably the most important thing is that it's still recognizing your stakeholders on a very personalized individual level. And I think that, beyond the wow, that's really at the heart, what's the most important thing about this type of solution.
That's very, very cool.
Can we say Pulsinelli Holiday Gift Shop 2023?
Love it.
I think it's worth talking about walking the mall, right? Yeah.
I can't wait to see a demo of that, Ashley. That's super exciting.
Sweet. Well, I know we have talked about innovative, the innovation wow factor side, exploring some of the virtual by nature, which is ideal for some clients and situations and, the hybrid workforce and all that. However, in-person experiential gifting, the on-site pieces, they also really need to dazzle. Again, you're telling people they're getting out of their house now, they're coming at you. It's got to be worth it. So what are the keys to there? And that is that going away? How do you feel then about the idea of innovation, but in person and on site?
So I can speak to that, Kevin. I think although on-site gifting experiences may be considered traditional, I think they are an excellent way to enhance and elevate any occasion, whether it's a small or large gathering, and then especially those of multi-day conferences.
Yeah, that makes very much kind of like Pulcinelli's employee retreat.
Yes, absolutely. So I can talk a little bit about that. We had recently, after a few years of being apart, we recently were able to bring together all 950 plus attorneys to Austin, Texas for our 2022 firm retreat. We had the overarching theme of Austin city limits. So we really leaned into that theme. We partnered with Augeo's gifting team again, and created 2 opportunities, interactive gift experience opportunities. The first was upon registration. Everybody was able to customize and design their own concert tee, which was screen printed on site and then in their hands as they walked away from registration. Very cool. We continued that excitement into our welcome reception that evening. Again, all 950 attorneys gathered, and we invited them to participate in a completely custom cowboy hat fitting. So they were able to select their cowboy hat. It was fitted to their head, and then they could decorate it with feathers, bands of their choice. It's so memorable. People are still talking about it. I get pictures of people wearing their hats in the wild. You could spot a Pulcinelli attorney from a mile away in the airport because they were wearing their cowboy hat and their concert tee. So it was a great experience all around.
I love both of those examples so much. And I think it really does speak again to the individual experience and that personalized interaction and that memorable moment. And I can't wait to see you, Meg, in your cowboy hat and shirt.
Yes, absolutely. And I do think that is a common thread we're seeing coming through as we're talking through this, be it 3D, totally immersive or really great digital shops where they're selecting or on-site, this idea of optionality and really the gift of choice seems to be at the heart.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think we can stress enough the gift of choice. And then again, like exceeding those expectations. You talked about it at the beginning of this discussion of meeting and exceeding expectations. The bar has been raised the past few years. So giving that gift of choice is so imperative.
Yeah, definitely.
We really want these things to stay with people for the right reasons. And these are some incredible ways to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point as well, Ashley. And I'm checking the time. I'm trying to stick with the TED Talk here. We're closing in. So let's hit one more question. This is sort of the big swing, right? So one last question for both of you. And Meg, I'm going to start with you, but we've given the audience hopefully a lot to think about. And as many of them are sort of beginning to evaluate their own corporate gifting strategies or reevaluate, what's one main takeaway that you would really want them to keep in mind?
Okay, one main takeaway. Okay, Kevin, I'm going to give you 2. Two main takeaways. 2 main takeaways. The first one is find yourself a good partner and someone who knows what they're doing. So, we leaned on Augeo and the technology platforms that were provided to us and their team and expertise. So that experience was very important to us. So find yourself a good partner and lean into the new technologies that are provided. So as you mentioned, they're evolving, they're ever changing. Engage with them, empower yourself to utilize them to their full potential.
Awesome. And Ashley, same question.
I'm going to give you 2 too. So I totally agree with Meg. Really, at the end of the day, this should be easy for you. So having the right partner and the right technologies in place are the 2 best ways that you can achieve that. Secondly, plan ahead. It shouldn't be an afterthought, and it shows when it is. So if we think about where we are now, starting to plan for your holiday gifting right now is a really great idea. Then if we look ahead, for example, Employee Appreciation Days in March. So really thinking about starting to look at that in early December. So just be ahead of the game is probably my biggest.
All good. So we got 4 instead of
Four,
2.
yeah.
So yes. We got bonus gifts already. Love it. Well, Meg and Ashley, thank you both for a great discussion. And thank you again to our audience for joining us. As you heard us say, your time is the most valuable thing that you can give. And you gave some of that to us. So thank you. We are very appreciative. And we hope that you found some nuggets in there that made it worth it as well. If you do have any questions about experiential gifting or anything else that we touched on, or want to just have a strategic conversation about this, please do reach out. We love having those conversations. We can be reached at info@augeomarketing.com. And shortly after, you're going to receive an email containing some helpful resources on everything that we have discussed today. So we have a gift for you. So keep an eye out for that. And with that, I do hope that everybody has a wonderful day and we get to see you again next time. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.